So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Teamsheet Tantrum on this Sunday, the 16th of May, the earliest Teamsheet Tantrum that we've ever done, and one of the earliest ones I think we will ever do. Crystal Palace on the horizon today. Seen pictures of Selhurst Park already from, I think it was Matt Mara from the Star. It looks in good nick. That's what we want to see Villa get the ball down and play today. But we're not here just to talk about the actual surface in Selhurst Park. We're here to talk about what the team sheet is going to be. And the big news for everybody here, I think it's already, the cat is already out of the bag, is that Paddy made it out of the scratcher and was able to get to the laptop in time for the Teamsheet Tantrum. Paddy Power were given evens that it would happen. And they were also given 6-4 that he would be at least 5 minutes late. But no, if anybody backed the evens, you've made a pile of money this morning, and I never doubted you, Paddy, to be able to get here on time.
I only doubted myself, Neil. So apologies in advance if I've got a bit of a croaky voice this morning.
Not at all. It's well deserved because, as I was saying to you last night, that it's we were long enough kind of waiting for opportunities, and as things are beginning to finally get back to normal, I can't wait to be in the same boat as yourself. But we do have a game to get to today, and sorry, I just got a bit distracted there because I'm just looking on Villa Twitter at the moment, and I'm just seeing about 37 minutes ago that I'm going to share it up here because I think it's an interesting one. Goal from last game that we played, Crystal Palace. Oh, let me take our names off the screen there and you'll be able to see it. So this is, apologies, it's very small, but we'll see this goal here. It's just an interesting one. This is almost a carbon copy of Louis Barry's goal against West Brom. I think this is really interesting. So ball comes over here to Ollie Watkins. This is El Ghazi's goal against Crystal Palace. Boom, first time shot, straight in there beside the post. They're the little things that kind of distract me from time to time. The fact it's like as if we just saw that last Friday against West Brom, and hopefully we see El Ghazi stick one in the back of the net like that again today. But I'm going to take that off the screen for the time being, and I'm going to bring our two mugs back up again. But Paddy, I suppose that's probably the first thing I want to ask you. And we're El Ghazi, Bertrand Traore. Do we see any shake up there with regards to the two wide men today?
Don't think so. As much as I'd like to see a little bit of a shake-up at this stage with very little to play for. I suppose the most important thing is the top half finish. So let's push on now and try and get a couple of wins out of these 3 games and get ahead of Leeds. I think that would make all of us very happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Del Boy, thanks as always for popping in. I must take this banner off the screen. We'll get rid of it. Del Boy says, David Coote. Paddy, go for it. David Coote. How many effigies are you going to be burning of David Coote this evening? Or is he somebody that's on your radar at all?
Not on my radar at all. We haven't had him too often from what I can remember. He did, if memory serves me correct, call a VAR decision against us. One of those studs being offside or something at one stage. So that's the only memory I have of David Coote refereeing Aston Villa.
Hardly was the VAR official when Wesley's heel, maybe? Was that it? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
That could have been it. I was only talking to a Chelsea fan about that today because obviously Chelsea feeling aggrieved yesterday over the offside, which, in the world we live in now in football, it was an offside. But look, clear and obvious once again is the operative phrase there. A bit perturbed about that, the fact that it was given offside, and he had like a litany of VAR decisions that haven't gone other teams' ways, and I was astounded that Wesley's wasn't in there, so I just gave him a nudge and said, "This is the most egregious of them all." In fairness, like somebody's heel wasn't
welcome to our world.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the rules they're going to enforce. I'm actually delighted that happened in a cup final against one of the greedy 6. So it kind of gave me a little wry smile yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. One rule for everybody. So look, You know, it can happen in a cup final as easy as it can happen against in Villa and Burnley as well. So, yeah, absolutely. That is something to take away from it. Macadamia says today's a 3-point day. I think so too. I think I'm feeling confident about today, and I'm always kind of reluctant to feel as confident as I absolutely do. But Brian Hennessy makes a great point that Ollie will be fresh. Guys, like we've seen Ollie's kind of motor and how he gets around a field and how he runs in between centre halves and just does that the Lord's work up there, you know, more than his fair share of work. And we've seen him do it without getting any break this season, and now he's got a week to recover. What are we going to be in for there? I hope he's he's going to be pretty industrious up there. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be something that
I think
that we will see.
Yeah. I think we know what we're going to get. I think on a normal week he would have got a week to recover anyway, so he's fine. He'll be fine. He'll be his usual self.
Tom was at Selhurst Park for the infamous Kevin Friend display. Today would be a day to put that one back to bed, I think, as well, you know, because like even the change in the Aston Villa team since then, no Henry Lansbury, no Conor Horan in the team, so it's like we do have different protagonists, I think, in today's plot line. Sean Green says the phrase that, you know, a lot of the time goes around in my head, has been going around in my head since the turn of the year, is must finish higher than Leeds. It would be great. In fairness, look, not taking anything away from Leeds, they've been absolutely fantastic. You know, really have. They're getting results out of nowhere, getting goals out of Stuart Dallas, Klitsch, all these guys that, you know, that aren't expected to be their goal scoring heroes, and they're getting goals out of them. So look, listen, sometimes you just gotta hold your hands up and say fair play. You know,
I think it's gonna fall up. I think it's gonna take a monumental falling apart from them for us to get ahead of them, because I think they've got Burnley and West Brom last. So I won't count any chickens with that one.
Exactly. Paul says fingers crossed for a win, not a happy stomping ground for us. Just one win the last 13 fixtures there. Yeah, we touched on that in the preview game. It's been 2014 since we last won there, and prior to that we haven't had what?
The last time we did a double against them was 1981. Incredible. Okay.
That was a fine year in itself. What else have we got there? We've got good evening from New Zealand, chaps. You can see the bags under our eyes, Stuart. Myself and Paddy are wrecked. We're trying to acclimatise to the day, and you're already going to bed. That's fantastic to see somebody in New Zealand here. We have the Brazilian contingent they're in, and Conor Hennessy is here as well. But great to see all corners of the world are represented so far, which is super. I'm hoping Jack gets a start today and Emmy gets the clean sheet record. That would make my Sunday. It really would. Emmy getting the clean sheet record and a win today for Aston Villa. Yeah. Jack Grealish coming back into the side to bag a goal would be absolutely fantastic. I know a couple of people have said to me that Jack Grealish isn't starting. Have we seen that anywhere, Paddy? I haven't seen it anywhere, and I watched the press conference and he did a lot of talking about Jack Grealish starting for, or not getting picked for England and stuff like that. But maybe I just completely missed it, you know. But 2 or 3 people have said to me today that Jack isn't starting, that Dean Smith has come out and said it. If anybody has that, can you pop it into the comments there? We'd be delighted to see it, as I say. Philip, good to see you, Philip. Fingers crossed for another clean sheet today. So yeah, absolutely. I think he does rightly deserve it. As we've said before, he's a man amongst that
team. Your question has been answered, Neil.
Has it?
Your question has just been answered.
I can't get my Twitter is after stalling there, and I don't have Jack Grealish. Welcome back, Jack Grealish. No, that's what?
No, Jack. He's on the bench.
Jack is on the bench. Question answered. The one time Twitter goes absolutely insane for me here, and talk amongst yourselves. Call out the team there, so Paddy, I'll try and get it. I'll try and call it out there. And
so
I'll try and
Emmy in goals, right back El Mohammadi. El Mohammadi is the big news, I suppose. We know Matty Cash isn't going to play. In the centre of midfield, centre of defence, more big news. Ezri Konza and Courtney House.
What?
Left back, Matt Target.
Okay.
No Tyrone Mings. Midfield, Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, who's captain today, and Jacob Ramsey. And then up front, Traore, El Ghazi, and Ollie Watkins. And the bench is Steer, Engels, Taylor, Nakamba, Chukwuemeka, Barkley, Grealish, Davis, and Wesley.
Oh my God, this is the first actual team sheet tantrum that we can have.
Yeah. So the first thing is no Jack. I think we kind of expected that. He didn't get enough of a run out the other night. Then what's happened to Tyrone Mings in the last? Because I don't think there's any mention of that in advance.
No, I finally got the team up here. Seems to be an issue with my external display here. It just wouldn't show any pictures from Twitter, so apologies about that, lads. So here we go. Yeah, as Paddy said, Martinez, El Mohammadi, Kanza, House and Target, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Traore, Ramsey, El Ghazi and Watkins. And so on the bench, as we say, Engels steps into the bench, and that's really it. Barkley replaces Ramsey on the bench as well with that seems to, and Taylor coming in actually as well for El Mohammadi. So it's interesting. You know, we love Courtney House here on the podcast, and we're unashamed lovers of Courtney House. But I'd imagine that Tyrone Mings maybe just had a dead leg after that collision with Emi Martinez the last day. He was down for quite a long period of time.
That's what everybody is. That's what people are alluding to there in the comments about that. That injury right at the end of the game on Thursday. And you know what? If he's carrying a bit of knock, we know what we're going to get with Courtney House, so absolutely fine with that.
Yeah. Sean Green. Sean Green says Courtney House to score from a corner just for me. Yeah, I think I might burst a blood vessel if that was to happen. Two great things. Courtney House, first of all, getting on the score sheet, and second of all, from a corner. Actually, I wonder, that might actually be my bet today. Just for the laugh, Courtney House to score mightn't be a bad bet as well, because he does like to get his head on the end of things. And if I'm not mistaken, Paddy, he scored in the last fixture. Am I right in saying that? Was he one of the ones? Was it Courtney House, El Ghazi, and Bertrand Traore scored on?
Yes, it did. It just barely got over the line, and the keeper clawed it back. That was Courtney House, if I'm correct.
Let's see what way Crystal Palace line up. So Crystal Palace line up as so they have and once again another one of these things that opens up a link. But I just put up a picture, please. Butland, Ward, Kayate, Gary Cahill, or Cahill as we would call him here in Ireland, Tariq Mitchell, James McCarthy, Jeffrey Schlupp, Eze, Townsend, Zaha, and Benteke. There is their starting lineup. I think that midfield is very, very, very get-atable. Paddy, what do you think? We spoke about it beforehand. No MacArthur in the team. I think that's very get-atable. No Milivojevic in there as well. Whew, I would be fancying us to dictate play in the middle of midfield and overrun that midfield when we go forward.
I think so. For that reason, I would have thought he would have played Riedewald, because he's a nasty little streak in him as well, and he gets in your face. So they haven't gone with him. They've gone with, I think it's Schlupp who's replaced him. They've switched it up a little bit there. Townsend is in for IU. I suppose from our point of view, Zaha is the one to watch. We know he's not going to be he's not going to be winding up Mings today anyway, that's for sure.
No. And look, I know we said it in the previous show that Ahmed El Mohammadi is, like, every time we see him in the team sheet, or every time people see him in the team sheet, they're worried that, is he going to be the guy that's going to be caught out today? He never really gets caught for pace or anything, so be interested to see how he handles Zaha there as well, maybe coming down the left hand side. But it's an interesting lineup as well. Like Andros Townsend, that is Andros Townsend, he just never seems to go away. The guys like Andros Townsend and Matt Phillips seem to be playing forever and ever and ever, and like they're just always there. Just doesn't seem to ever want to go away. But fair play to him. Look, a long career is hard to have in the Premier League, especially when you fall out of favour within the English setup, like Andros Townsend has over the years. And he's kept his career on kept his career going, and he does have a budding. Well, I'm not going to say a budding, but he does pop up from time to time on radio stations every so often doing guest presenter slots. So that's probably what makes me think that he should be put out to pasture. And maybe he's a lot younger than I think. So looking at their bench, Paddy, they don't really seem to have anything in the middle there to bring on. As you said, Riedewald is probably the only midfield substitution they could have. Obviously, they've got. It's strange. They've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench. And they've got Scott Dan, and Tompkins. Pardon me?
The goalkeeper is an interesting one as well because Butland hasn't been featuring. And Gaeta has made way for this one. So it'd be interesting to see what the thinking is behind that.
What's the thinking behind naming 2 goalkeepers on the bench? Am I missing something here? Or is there another Gaeta that's maybe a right back or something? Because they've named 2 goalkeepers, 3 centre halves for all intents and purposes. I know that Kelly can go out and play on the right. They've named.
I doubt that very much.
Like they've got realistically Riedewald as well is predominantly a defender that plays in defensive midfield. Then they've got 3 strikers. The Roy Hodgson just phone in the team. Yeah. You know, potentially. It is a strange one, but let's not focus too much more on Crystal Palace. Let's not focus on them. Let's bring back up here. Let's look and see what some of the guys have been saying there.
Yeah.
I feel like I've neglected the comments. I haven't read out as many comments as I normally do today. So let's go to the comment board. Where did I leave off there? Claire, great to have you. Normally listen to the podcast, but join today to help you push to the 100 live watchers up the villa. Excellent stuff, Claire. We're getting ever so close. But thank you so much. You're always welcome. And thanks so much for listening to the podcast too. Con Kelly is of the same opinion that we need to be catching leads. They've stolen a march while we were meandering. Yeah, well, once again, I think the fact that we're meandering, I think there is two valid excuses. They are excuses. I'm going to call them excuses, but and people will say, "Oh yeah, excuses." Like you should have found a way around these things, and that's cool to say too. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have that opinion, but I think that COVID and Jack Grealish are 2 of the biggest things that could have happened to this team this year, and as a result, we've lost points. And I think it's a fair comment to make in the context of the season. But Leeds have shown more stability in that area, and look, we are where we are at the moment, but we could still catch them. Who knows? But it all depends on 3 points today. So Sam says that Davis' shot is low, not to start a player we need moving forward. Watkins' strength this year has been making the most of opportunities he's given and making his own, something Davis can't do on this level. Yeah, and Keenan Davis isn't starting today. So I think it was a case of needs must last week, but we were all willing to give him a chance and see what he can do. What he does well, but it's just potentially doesn't have the full arsenal to be able to cut it at the Premier League level. But once again, he's a young kid. Who knows what a season away on loan to get his confidence up can do. You can't fault his effort, that's for sure. Not used to your steam voices making breakfast morning, gents. 3 points and a big Bertie T goal. Bertie pulls goals out of the bag whenever he feels like it, so hopefully he feels like it this morning for sure, Lewis, and thanks again. I'm just going to see here. Yeah, Ron Bride says that Mings seemed to hurt his foot pretty bad on Thursday. I think that's probably it. That's probably why he isn't out there. It's an interesting one. Sam says that Sit would never say this game is a dead rubber, not worth risking Grealish's English prospects this summer. Yeah, I think it's probably fair to say. Maybe he did allude to it. He said that that he doesn't pick the team for England in the press conference, and but that Jack was a special player, and that Aston Villa hopes he goes on to have a good Euros. So maybe this is his way of doing Jack a solid and not risking him. But yeah, it's a fair point to make. Absolutely fair point.
Yeah,
Paddy, this is one would like to see Engels before the end of the season. It's the last time we've seen Bjorn Engels, if I'm not mistaken, was against Spurs when he let the ball under his foot and Son skipped in and got that goal. We've seen him in the under 23s recently. We actually saw himself and Courtney House both tug out for the under 23s recently. But I think that's a fair point as well. I think we do need to see Engels. Maybe not see him before the season, but he might be in danger of being maybe one of these players that's churned at the for squad depth. He could be churned for somebody who maybe is a small bit more versatile, like an Ezri Konsa type, except left-footed. That can come in and maybe play those two positions if needs be. Because who knows, Dean Smith might be looking to move with the way the Premier League is moving towards three at the back. We might be looking to move that way, and I don't think Bjorn Engels can play three at the back.
He's currently fourth choice, really, isn't he, at the moment? So, you would have to worry that maybe his time is up, and maybe he is thinking about shipping him out in the summer. Maybe there's a deal done, and that's why we're not seeing him. I liked Engels when he came in first. That the all Mingles partnership seemed to be fairly solid. But then again, we did ship goals. So, and I'd say that that performance against Spurs did hurt him a lot, and would have damaged his confidence. But I did like him. I agree. I'd like to see him get a game and just see if he's still up to it. And it's unfortunate. Courtney House is unfortunate for him. The Courtney House is back fit and able to fill in there, and we know how good Courtney House is.
And I think of all the prospects coming up through the youth system as well. We talked about the Louis Barrys of this world, Brad Youngs, who more and more I've gone and I watched him after that game, and I'm excited about Brad Young. I really am. He's my little crush on that team at the moment. But the two centre halves are obviously, there's big things taught and brought in from the Netherlands, Svinkels and Bogart. But the gap in age, I suppose, really, do you really want to be starting a 17, 18-year-old centre half there? I don't think Bogart settles in centre half. I think he probably moves up the field a small bit further, but Svinkels is a big boy, but you don't really want to be relying on a 17, 18, 19-year-old centre half unless he's absolutely outstanding. So I think there will need to be a stopgap brought in there if they do look to churn the bottom of the squad there with Engels. Maybe move Engels out, maybe bring in somebody. I spoke to you about him yesterday, like a Christoph Ayer from Celtic, can play that centre half role, 6'6", brilliant passer of the ball, mobile, just played above in Scotland at his ease, and sometimes that was a problem for him, but also steps out of defence, can play a defensive midfielder as well. It wouldn't cost the sun, moon and stars. You could get 6-7 million for Engels. You could probably spend 8 or 9 on Christoph Ayer, and he can play that defensive midfielder role as well if needed. I'm just spitballing and throwing names out here, but with regards to that, I'm not saying that we should absolutely go for him, but something like that where we see maybe not a massive name come in, but Christoph Ayer, as I say, he's only 22 years of age. He's played I think he's played nearly 200 senior games. That's the experience that he has, and he still has time to learn. International as well. Yeah. He was starting for a team called, I think the team was actually called Start in the Norwegian league. He was playing for them I think just before he was 16. So the boy's been physically able to play the game at that level. So fair play to him. Philip says that Mings was on crutches at the Youth Cup semi-final. I didn't see that myself, but it stands to reason that he was on crutches. But but I would imagine a lot of that stuff is precautionary as well. Simon Wheaton, Ramsey to net today. That might be. I think I might have a little sneaky one in that as well, because I think he's going to have a lot of freedom in the field today. Obviously, with the two older heads in there, McGinn and Douglas Luiz, I think he's going to have a lot of freedom there. So you could see it. It's going to be nice to see him start today. Mark Holmes said Bing's back for score. Well, at least you'll get your money back for it anyway, Mark. Put it on Courtney House instead. That's what we'll do. A big collective effort to try and move. Actually, don't do it yet. Let me put my money on first, and then we'll all put the money on Courtney House to score first, and we'll move the odds singularly as a podcast. We'll put a run on it. Thomas, that's interesting. The Dean said after the Everton game, the doctors told him to play Jack more than 20 minutes. Everton in today's game, then hopefully full games for Spurs at Chelsea. I actually didn't see the post-game interview. I was doing the Villa View for after the Everton game, and I didn't see it. And I actually just remember there, as you say this, I didn't go back and look at it, which is something I usually do. But that's really, really interesting. That
didn't register with me at the time. I remember him saying that the agreement was 20 minutes, but I thought it was just for the Everton game. But fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah. David Scott throws one your way, Paddy. I'm going to let you answer this one. Benteke, he's out of the contract at the end of the summer. I'd love him back, but his wages are high. I don't think his wages will be an issue being a free transfer. I think a lot of players and free transfers come in on higher wages than we'll ever know, because it's essentially just a cash grab from a lot of players that they say, well, you're not paying a transfer fee, so just give me maybe X percentage of what transfer fee you would pay me instead. What do you make of Benteke? Over 30, I think, at this stage.
I can't see that happening. I can't see him coming back, and I'm never a big believer in players coming back either. I don't think he fits the profile of what we're looking for. I think he's a little bit too old, and he wouldn't be one for the long-term future. And I think that's what we're trying to do with dollar signings. So for me, as much as I wouldn't mind him coming back, I'd like to see him come back and maybe undo his last 5 or 6 years of doing nothing at Premier League level and do it with us, which would be great. But I just can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I mentioned something there myself, and I think it's something that I probably need to get used to. I think we'll see a couple of older players come in the summer. And when I say older players, I mean, like, so far we've been signing 24, 23, 24, 25-year-olds. We might see one or two experienced heads come in there, like a 27, 28, 29-year-old. And I know we were linked, I don't know, is Ash watching this today, but there's a great, our Turkish correspondent, as I like to call him, Ash, is he chat to him an awful lot on Twitter, sent me a link for I'm going to butcher this name. I think it's no, I was doing it all right before the podcast. I know my mouth won't work. He's a Uruguayan midfielder, a central attacking midfielder playing with Flamengo in the Brazilian league. He's playing off his skin the last 2 seasons. Giorgino Diasqueta, I think his name is. He's got an Italian passport, so I think they'll be looking around for little anomalies like that playing in other leagues that show one or two things. This guy is electric. He's been nominated for the Puskás awards twice, I think, in the last 2 years for outstanding goals. Now, he doesn't have anywhere near the physicality needed for the Premier League, but if you think kind of an Emi Buendia type player, but obviously unproven within an English football structure, then that's kind of the way this guy looks. But it's unbelievable feat. Not the fastest player in the world, but a completely different kind of caliber of central attacking midfielder than we would see with Ross Barkley. But he gets up and down the field. His 26 or 7 caps for Uruguay. Definitely somebody I want to do a small bit more work on, because I only knew him from scoring spectacular goals. But the more I've kind of looked into him, the more I think that I haven't seen enough of him, and I just don't know whether he would stand up to the Premier League. But really interesting player, and I think that's where they're going to go. They're going to look for 26, 27, 28-year-old players. Maybe they can come in for 3 or 4 seasons and they can get the best out of them and maybe push us towards the UEFA Cup place, which would be absolutely fantastic for Aston Villa. Who else have we? Tom Cowley is back again. That Palace team should be wide open. If we show up like we can, we should be all over that midfield. The key being if we show up. Can't disagree with anything there, Tom. Can't disagree with anything you said there for sure. If we show up, and I think we will.
If we show up, I think if we show up, we destroy most teams. So, Palace on the run they've been on, there's no reason why we couldn't go and really have a pop off them and get a few goals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mr. Callahan's in the house as well. Didn't see a couple of those changes coming, but I'm fine with it nonetheless. Can see Benteke score today for sure. I don't. I think Courtney House is a better matchup for someone like Benteke. Yeah, I think he's a better matchup for somebody like Benteke, the way the Benteke plays. But as they say, usually our old nemesis has come back to haunt us again. Chuffin says that interested to see Konza today without Mings, see if he's more vocal and needs the backline. Yeah, absolutely. I know we hear Mings an awful lot now that there's nobody in the stadium. We hear him roar and shout an awful lot, but we've seen Konza turn around and barrel Emi Martinez out of it. We've seen him give the dirty eyes to Matty Cash a couple of times this season. I don't think we've anything to fear from the leadership point of view from Ezri Konza. I've seen enough.
No, I don't think so. Have we got fans in today, Neil?
No, I don't think in Sellers. I don't think
there's fans. Have Palace got fans in today?
I don't think so.
It's all just the last game, is it? Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's over the last 2 weekends, isn't it? Depending if you've got a home game or whatever. It's an interesting one. I don't know.
Yeah. But this is the last weekend, but it's the third last game. So maybe it's midweek. Everybody's home and away this week, so maybe it's midweek when it kicks in.
Maybe so. We've got Canada. We've done it. We've got all 4 corners of the earth. If you're looking at a map, actually, we're probably just looking for maybe if we've got anybody in. If there's anybody in Japan, make yourself known watching the podcast. But we've hit 4 continents anyway so far, which is fantastic. Be great if someday we could hit all of the continents. We've North and South America. We've got Asia Pacific region with the New Zealand contingent, and now we've got Canada. But good morning from Canada. Build up through the first 2/3 of play has been more structured in the last few games. We need more guile in the final third. 100% agree. Yeah, and I think Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins is going to show us again today what we missed in the last game. And once again, he's playing for his Euro spot. So like when we say, a couple of people said there earlier on, it was a dead rubber game. Somebody playing for the Euro spot is, that's his incentive. Go today, bang in 2 or 3 goals.
Apart from dead rubber,
Yeah, absolutely. What else do we have today? Sean Green, I agree with you as well. I think we should press high today against the midfield. However, they have gone for pace to get in behind us, and House ain't quick. House isn't quick, but he almost plays a bit further back, kind of like a sweeper. So it will be interesting today. I'm going to be very interested to see what the spacing is between 2 centre halves, because they do like it. Will it allow Target to go forward as much as he normally does, because of the fact that obviously Mings can cover ground, and we know that. So be really interesting to see. It will be interesting to see, and definitely one of the things I'll be looking at. But I don't like, and I know I'm touching wood and everything here, even though I do believe in Courtney House. I'm not envisaging that he makes any massive mistakes today or anything like that. Stephen, exactly. Hayden Lindley is exactly the type of player that this team could do with. Would love to see some sort of rotation of young fellas into the team to give him a taste. Yeah, I'm not. I was very much on this this train before or after the game on Friday, but I don't know. I suppose when I sit back and I look at it, are we going to bring loads of players in against Spurs or against Chelsea? I'm not 100% sure, but Lindley is. Put your foot in first, and if it gets the ball, well and good. He doesn't take any prisoners, and if he puts a bit of meat in the bones as well, we might have something there. Came up through the Man City academy, I think, as well, first in his earlier years, and then moved to Aston Villa. So maybe they must have seen something there in him from that point of view. So for sure, right. Paddy. Hello, Anne. How are you doing? And is in the centre of the world, a place called Ballingarry in County Limerick. That's where I grew up, in a place called Ballingarry, County Limerick. And we have our own footballing star. He's playing with Oxford United at the moment, Anthony Ford. And Anthony will be playing in the League One playoffs this season. Anthony actually was with Villa up until he was about 14, 15. And then he moved to Wolves and he made his Premier League debut. Some of you guys might remember that name. He played under 21s with Ireland, and he made his Premier League debut at 17 under Mick McCarthy. And there was an amazing statistic for him whereby he played on the right wing, and his first 4 games, I think he were against United, Chelsea twice, and Arsenal, because he was trusted to come in there and do a job, a nice dogged defensive job. And I'll never forget, I think it was against Chelsea he was playing, but I remember it was his first game. We all went down to the pub to watch it, and he got a shot on goal, and I'd never seen a pub erupt with so much, like it was as if he scored a hat-trick. It was the best thing we'd seen. But Anthony and actually Anthony, another Villa connection for Anthony there is his agent used to be the former Villa player Sir Regis as well, so God rest him. But yeah, hello, Anne, great to see you here. Yeah, Richard, that's the guy I was talking about, the Uruguayan, 30 goals in 90 games. He's really come into his own the last 2 seasons as well. Yeah, and another guy who actually got game time is a 16, 17-year-old for Defensor Sporting as well in the Uruguayan league, and he actually destroyed Cruzeiro. When I was looking at it, he destroyed destroyed Cruzeiro in his first season in the Copa Libertadores, and then Cruzeiro just snapped him up straight away afterwards. They saw something in him, and then Flamengo signed him for a record fee, I think, record transfer fee in Brazil at the time from Cruzeiro. So he's going to cost a bit of wage, but if the guys see something in him, then absolutely. Chris, is it too early to crack open a can? As we say, we've got there's people here from New Zealand, and it's the evening time there.
It's not too long ago I cracked open my last one, so
exactly. Guys, I think we're getting there. I'm just going to rifle down through the guys. Going to rifle down through here as well. So we've got more people in from New Zealand. Liam is in here as well. Welcome, Liam. Delighted to have you. Barry says, "Do you guys believe Traore is good enough to keep some of the youngsters out? I don't see it. Would like to hear your views. What do you think, Paddy? At this moment in time, I suppose there's two kind of questions in that. What's the situation now? What's the situation likely to be like in 18 months' time?
Well, the situation now is, I would agree with Barry to a certain extent that yes, we probably should rotate him. I think with other players in the squad after this summer's transfer window, I think Bertie is perfect for what we'll be trying to do, and will flourish next year. But yes, I do believe that he could possibly rotate in that position. But if he doesn't do it today, he's certainly not going to do it against Spurs and Chelsea. So I think we can draw a line under that one for now.
Yeah. I just don't like, even in the youth games. I've don't get me wrong, Jaden Philogene Bides has really stood out at his level and stuff like that. But I just don't think that he would. I don't think he's going to come in and rise all boats if he comes in and plays at left wing or even at right wing for the senior team. As it stands right now, a season, an off season maybe with the senior squad might help, but I think we are limited with what we have on the wings. But there is an argument to be made that maybe Traore isn't here for the long term. But once again, he's our third highest scorer in the league this year. He's got 6 goals. So without him, we would be in a way worse off position. So look, it's always. I think it's always going to be an opinion thing for sure. And I think we can always. But the two questions I think with Bertrand Traore is this is first year starting predominantly in this league. It's a year where I think that Dean Smith would have liked to have rotated him more than he's been able to, due to the fact that we've had injuries in these positions. And I think the return we've gotten from him has been good, while frustrating at times. So the real kind of question I think I would ask about Bertrand Traore is he going to be a full-time starter in 18 months' time with the people we've got coming up through the ranks? And that, I think, is very much open to interpretation. I don't think he is, and I think that we will look to rotate in those areas a small bit more. But yeah, definitely somewhere where I think forward planning is going to be needed on those wing positions for sure. Paddy, what did we say that you were going with? You were going with a 2-0 win, was it?
2-0 win, yeah. I just can't see them scoring against us today. A little bit change of heart when Mings isn't there, so there's going to be a little more tentative start to the game, I would imagine, till we settle into it. So I'm not expecting us to go gung-ho early on. Having said that, we'll probably score after 12 seconds, but it's that's my opinion on it. I think we'll win. I think we'll win easy. We'll win 2-0, maybe even more. And I'm not going to put the hex on it, but maybe another record broken today by the main man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go with 3-0. I'm going to go 3-0 Aston Villa because I'm just in a really good mood today, and I woke up feeling very, very confident about this game, which can be a blessing and a curse in itself. But right, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. It's 11:30. Game kicks off in 30 minutes time, so we're going to let you guys get settled as always with the snacks and whatever juice of choice that you wish to fuel you through the game. Thanks as always to absolutely everybody for listening. I think we got up to nearly 90 people today. We didn't quite break the 100 yet, so if you have any friends or family members that want to watch us, please, we would be delighted if you'd spread the word that we do these, because they're great crack. We love doing them. We're a bit tired, both of us, this morning. So the energy mightn't have been there, and I was a bit distracted at times, especially with my technical issues there earlier on. But thanks so much for plowing through those with us. Here's to hoping Aston Villa win today, and I suppose, Paddy, all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.